but I'm still happy with it. And so to kind of switch it up, I left for Mexico for a couple months so I could work from home there and just have a different vibe, you know?
Did you say a couple months?
Yeah. No big deal. Nothing crazy.
She only said a couple months.
I know.
Under the radar. But you know what? I appreciate your candor because that's a lot of what I like. I've been working. Welcome to Travel Tuesday Happy Hour, where we interview dope people doing dope things from around the world. Today, we have a special for you all. We have a dynamic duo that travels the world together. Ladies, tell us who you are and what do you do?
Hey, I'll go first. I'm Maxine, currently based in Brooklyn and part-time traveler and full-time email developer at Disney+.
And I'm Ciattta. I am part-time traveler, and I'm based in DC, Washington, DC, and I'm a project manager for a construction company.
Okay, so we got New York and DC. How did this dynamic duo come about?
Philadelphia.
What? Born and raised on the playground. Okay, so how did this happen?
We met in our college orientation, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a decade in this. We've been friends for like over a decade now.
Okay, so what school did you guys go to? Temple? Don't say Temple.
No.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
Watch your mouth.
No, where'd you go to?
We went to Drexel.
Oh, nice. I know a lot of people that went to Drexel. And so DC meets New York in Philly, the city of brotherly love, right? Yeah. And from that time, you guys just decided you guys are gonna be best friends for life.
I mean, kind of worked out that way. No, circumstances just made it happen, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, we just connected. That orientation, we connected and literally just hit it off.
So could you pinpoint that thing that kind of drew you to each other that made that connection happen?
Honestly, like our spirits just aligned. I know that sounds like so odd, but there was nothing significant. Like our friend groups weren't really the same. Like we just became friends.
Yeah. Okay. We're definitely kindred spirits for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. So individually, what sparked your individual desire for travel? Like what was your initial travel experience that was like, oh, that's kind of dope?
Maxine, you want to go first or me?
Yeah, I can go. I would say for me, so my family's from Jamaica, but I had never been until I was about like 22. So that was my first, I know. So that was my first time.
So hold up. You didn't get threatened to get sent to your grandmother's house. So you was the good kid growing up.
I was the only kid, so I'm an only child, actually.
Okay, so she wasn't, look, you're her plus one everywhere she goes, so she ain't trying to send you away.
Exactly. So, but actually my grandma, like most of my family's in New York, in the Bronx, Brooklyn, but I had like extended family in Jamaica. So my mom was like, you know what, it's about time you go and like visit your roots, see the rest of your family, see Jamaica. And so I went out there and I just had an amazing time. And like the fact that I could connect where my mom was from and just see her roots and see what made her her, it was just a pivotal moment for me. So I'm like, you know what? I need to do more of this.
Okay. So did you move around just state to state travel before then? Or was that really like your, let's say from New York to Philly for school, that's one way of traveling, but did you guys bounce around the States any?
Yeah, do you want to take that?
Oh, I thought he was talking to you.
No, that's still for you.
Oh, that's still for me. Yeah, I had done some traveling. I had been to Aruba and I think Bahamas, but those were like family trips when I was like younger, like 8, 9, 10 years old. So they didn't really have an impact on me. But I would say like my first trip to Jamaica was like definitely the one. I think I had gone to Miami a couple times in college, but that's just like turn up. So I would say Jamaica was like my big trip.
Okay. And you?
And me, so like Maxine, my family is is from abroad. My mom is Liberian, so I'm half Liberian. So we have that culture just instilled in us from birth. We traveled a lot actually as a kid. We would go back and forth around the States. My mom really wanted to instill travel in a very early age. So I was going to Europe and the Caribbean and stuff when I was like 10. So it started early for me. So it's always been in my blood, and I've always wanted to be a global citizen, honestly.
Okay, okay. And so what led to the dynamic duo traveling together? And from that point forward, your friend circle is, so let me ask the question first. Are you guys just always traveling together, or sometimes you guys include other people as well?
Yeah, no, we travel together, but we also like Maxine will go on different trips. I'll go on different trips. Like this past trip that we went and met another friend from Drexel. And it was just, I don't know, we just kind of do what the world wants us to do, what the universe pulls direction.
Yeah. And then I know a lot of times when I'm going somewhere for my birthday, I like to be international, and I'll invite like a couple more of my friends. So it's not just
Okay.
me and Ciattta. So
Yeah.
Okay,
it
so
varies.
what was the one trip that you guys did together that made you guys this dynamic duo?
I think it was Costa Rica. Was it Costa Rica?
I think so. I think that was the first time we traveled together, Costa Rica.
My
And so
cousin
what was that like?
my cousin was getting married in Costa Rica, and I don't think I hadn't seen you in a minute. So I was like, "What are you doing? Like, come with me and my family." And so she came, and it was great. She meshed with my whole entire family. When they call for me, they ask for Maxine now, so she's like my sister. But yeah,
So so Maxine, have you met her family prior to, or just like maybe immediate family at that point?
No, I think that was my first time meeting like her family. Like, yeah, that was my
So
first time.
so were you like anxious to I mean it's not like you're meeting a boyfriend's family, but like your best friend's family, like you want to leave a lasting impression, right?
I
So was
know.
there a level of like anxiety, just like, all right, I hope they like me, or since they love her, they're gonna automatically love me? How does that work?
Yeah, no, I really wasn't anxious because knowing Ciattta, she's like the most lovable, open person, and I knew her family was going to be the same. So when I first met them, it was open arms. Her family's so awesome and loving and just very welcoming. So it was really easy to mesh with them.
I
Okay.
lied. Our first trip was to Las Vegas.
Oh,
Oh,
see, there's so many. I
oh.
can't keep.
Yeah.
See, so what was that trip like? Cause I want the juicy stories. Come on now. I mean, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'm just
Exactly.
trying to get the excitement leading up to Vegas. So, when it comes to, planning out these trips, is it usually like one of you have the idea and the other person's like, hey, all right, I'm with it? Cause I know I have maybe three friends. If they drop a location, I ask no questions. I'm buying a plane ticket and getting my hotel. So is that kind of how it is with you guys, or it took you guys time to get to that point?
No, it's been like that. That's exactly how we are. Where
Exactly.
you go? Okay, I'm coming.
We're pulling up.
Nice.
No matter where the other person is at, no matter what's going on, we're pulling up.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, y'all both got a personal photographer everywhere you go, right? And so you got content for days because you got BFF taking the angles from the floor, trying to make sure they capture all the beautiful sights for y'all.
At underscore melanin on the move. No.
There you go. There you go. So, what about travel excites you guys?
I'll say
Culture.
for me, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. The same thing. Just seeing different cultures, being immersed in different cultures, just expanding your perspective, on the world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And the
And
food.
so,
The food too. I'm a big foodie. So
Yes.
everywhere I go.
okay.
Mhm.
So, what's been the most interesting things you've eaten as you've traveled?
Interesting things we've eaten together on our travels together, or
Well, I mean, both travels together or apart.
nail for me. I ain't gonna do that.
Snail,
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
escargot.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna do that again though.
It's,
it was a try.
it's an experience, I will say. I will say that's an experience.
I don't know. The most interesting? I don't know. I'm not the most adventurous eater, but I will say everywhere I go, I try and find the Jamaican spot to see how
Oh
the
God.
Jamaican food, see how the Jamaican food compares. So recently I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico for a little bit and there was a Jamaican spot out there. And let me tell you, like, well, I mean, it was Jamaican owned. So the cook was Jamaican, but that food, and you're from Brooklyn too, right, Paige? So you know
Yes,
Jamaican
yes.
food in Brooklyn is on point. But that Mexican food, the Mexican
Mhm.
Jamaican food,
It hit different. It hit
it hit
different.
different. I'm not gonna lie.
So so I just want to try to get an idea of the type of duo you are, right? And so are you guys like yin and yang? So like there's an adventurous one and there's a like, hey, we need to stay safe and not do all of these crazy things. So do you guys keep each other balanced, or both of y'all are like, yo, I want to do this. Do you want to do this? Y'all have this like like y'all have this like telekinetic dialogue. We're like, look, you see that thing right there? I want to do it. You want to do it, and then y'all just go ahead and get it done.
Yeah, we're both down for whatever. That's what kind of makes it dangerous though, because there's no
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's nobody saying maybe we should take a, maybe we should think about this. Nope.
Well, that person doesn't get invited to the trips apparently, right?
We're both whatever.
Okay. So what's the most adventurous thing you guys have done together?
Adventurous. What did we do that was crazy adventurous, Maxine? Like,
No, we do everything: zip lining, four wheeling.
Have you guys done the bungee jumping yet?
no. So I like my life. No, I don't think I want to do jumping or like skydiving. That's, my heart would actually stop. But the zip lining was very fun. We've done a couple road trips together, like up down Tijuana kind of thing. So that was pretty adventurous.
I would definitely say that was probably our most adventurous trip. So we flew into Cali and then we drove from Cali to Tijuana. We spent the night in Tijuana. And then we drove from Tijuana to Arizona to see the vortexes and whatnot. And then we stayed a couple nights in Arizona. And then we drove, where did we drive?
To Phoenix, got our tattoos.
Drove to Phoenix, got some tattoos, and then flew home.
Oh, y'all some rebels, huh? Let me find out. Y'all out here going south of the border, coming back. Okay, so road tripping is another part of you guys' travel as well, right? Like, when it comes down to a road trip, what is your criteria? Does it have to be less than 12 hours? Or is it one of those where it's like, we're gonna road trip and I don't care how long it is, we're just gonna stop at these places along the way?
Well, the funny thing is, neither one of us really likes to drive, but we've been on 2 road trips. So that as soon as someone gets tired, it's like, okay, we can't do it. I remember some of the times in Arizona, we were just driving middle of the night, like, okay, I'm tired. I remember her stopping in the middle of the road because there was nothing else out there. And she's like, just switch. So we switched in the middle of the road, like, as soon as someone's tired. Whenever we're like, okay, I gotta go.
So did you guys plan that out already? Because did y'all not realize how far Tijuana to Arizona was?
We did. And it's funny because our first road trip was to Carabana. Right?
Oh, wow.
That's like, what was that? Like 10 hours, 12 hours. And we're
y'all
like,
left out of New York?
Jersey,
yeah.
Okay.
Jersey. And we're like, yo, that was rough. We're never doing that again.
We got a speeding ticket 10 minutes in.
got a speeding ticket, but then we're like, we're never doing that again. And then I think I got the itch to do another road trip to like, Arizona. And she was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I think it'll be fun. And she's like, all right. And so as soon as we're like maybe like 5 hours in driving, we're like, okay, we remember why we didn't want to do road trips. Because it's like, it's rough. But once you finally get to the destination, you're like, it was worth it. But definitely,
okay.
I want to go past like 13 hours. I think that's my cutoff.
Yeah. I think my longest road trip was probably South Carolina, going to this is a place called Jacksonville, South Carolina. But that was about like roughly 12 hours. But it was a switching up, stop, start. We spent the day in DC, spent the day in Richmond, and then kept going. So
gotta break it up.
Yeah. So when it comes to travel between the two of you, what is the thing that continues to drive you guys to travel, right? There's individual travel, but what is it that you guys experience that you don't experience with other people that says, you know what, girl, let's go on this trip. And you guys automatically click it and it's like, all right, cool, let's go, let's make it happen. Because there has to be something that says, for as long as you've known each other, you guys are always down for the ride, for the ride out.
I guess since we don't live in the same city, like we talk every day, every other day, but just, like I said, our spirits are connected. So it's kind of weird saying that, but it's just we mesh well. We want to see each other. Our birthdays are a couple months apart. So those are always good times to see each other. And then a couple here in the middle, here and there in the middle.
And so what are your birthdays, if you guys don't mind me asking?
She's Aquarius in February.
February 6th.
And then I'm July baby, July 22nd.
Okay. So y'all pretty much, I'm not sure if those signs mesh up or not. I'm not. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm an Aries. If that makes any difference. Say it again.
My mom's an Aquarius and she's an Aquarius. So.
Okay. I'm an Aries. I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not. So, we're amazing, just so y'all know. Now, when you guys do these travels and you invite other people, do you kind of already know the type of people you want to join and the type of vibe you're gonna have, or it's like it's a roll of the dice every time you invite new people to the kind of like duo trip?
Yeah, I think we always know who we're going to invite and their personalities and how they mesh with us. Because like you said earlier, we were talking about this. You can't just travel with anybody. If you're spending an extended period of time with them in close quarters, you can't be with just anybody. So me and Ciattta know we get along great. It's a vibe. And then we have like one of my other homegirls that we invite for our trips, and she just meshes right in. But yeah, we always know the vibe we're trying to have on our trips and who to invite for sure.
Yeah. So was this something that you guys curated over time? Like these set of girls and their friends are allowed. These set of girls and their friends are never allowed. And tell me, please, I want to hear like a not allowed story. I mean, you don't get. We can take names out, but tell me like what happened that had a friend or somebody not be allowed to go.
Mexico.
Mexico?
Have we had those moments, Ciattta?
We've had one moment.
You tell it.
Oh, wow.
Take out the names.
One moment where a friend of ours wanted to go somewhere. Sorry, my dog is over here trying to get my attention.
It's all good.
We had one moment where a friend wanted us to go somewhere on a whim. And Maxine had to text me on the side and I was like, no, we can't do that.
I don't remember.
See, she don't even remember. It was that far ago.
It was the tequila. That's why I don't remember.
Blame everything on the alcohol.
That's what I do.
Okay. So since you guys move around in such safe cliques and safe groups of people, with in light of what's been happening here in the United States, right, with Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and so many other, we've really had to kind of be more vigilant in how we move around here in the United States. And as women of color, when you move around, it's even extra vigilant because, as you guys know, especially in DC, there are a lot of Black girls that go missing and nobody hears about it, right? As women of color, do you feel that when you travel, you have to be in a heightened state of alertness to make sure that you're always safe? Or do you, in your travels, have felt safe and felt like, you know what, I really haven't had to look over my shoulders because of that?
We try to be very safe, though. I mean, honestly, I feel like God has always been on our side. Like in a lot of our situations, we've been in a lot of compromising situations, but we've been able to be safe, and we each have each other's back on our trips. So
yeah, I agree. And I think that's one thing with Ciattta and I. We still have our street smarts, but we still kind of like move forward with trust in God.
Yeah.
and that we're going to be okay. So we don't travel with fear-based thoughts. We're very positive and optimistic. And I think that's one of the reasons we've been like so blessed on our travels.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so, I mean, there are some countries that are out here that still feel as though that, um, they can talk to people however they want, right? Out of not necessarily being American nice. Do you guys still, I mean, have you guys experienced where people are um overtly racist or treat you guys in a way that wouldn't be as of your white counterparts out there?
Knock on wood, thankfully, we have not had any of those experiences. I don't think, right? I think we
No, not together. I will say though, when I took a trip to Greece, and I will say I felt like they were very disgusted towards Black Americans. It was a group trip, so it was a lot of us, a lot of Black people, and they were so rude. Um, and that was my first time kind of experiencing racism abroad, and that kind of like
Mm,
yeah back. But Greece was the only place I felt that tension. Nowhere else,
mm,
which was interesting.
okay.
But I
So do
have.
you guys feel so
Mhm.
do you feel like when you travel in numbers, they're not as emboldened to treat you guys the way they would like to because there's always somebody in a group. So which one of y'all in a group is the clapback queen?
Maxine.
That's me for sure. Yeah, I don't hold my tongue. I'm very direct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I
very
try to keep peace. I try to keep peace, but
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, and the reason I asked that is because, a lot of times, our travelers don't know which countries um, have the safer place or are the safest places to go, right?
mhm,
Your followers may see the glitz and glamours of your travels, but don't realize that, yeah, Greece is beautiful, but on the back end, you might want to be careful because they can be brash, they can be insensitive to culture at times. Um, I've had one of my guests say that they were experiencing inappropriate catcalls in Italy. You know what I mean? And over sexualization in certain countries. So that's the main reason why I asked that. So I'm gonna move on. So you guys are in two different places, right? So you guys probably experienced COVID in two different facets, right? You got the DMV area that didn't really think that it existed, right? And then we got the New York area where our governor was on constant reporting out of what the case were. So where were you both when not just when COVID hit, but when this country started to shut down? Either one of you can start.
well, we were in our respective cities, but as soon as like the country slowly started to shut down, we were ready to book a trip to Puerto Rico because the flights had plummeted, and we're like $50 one way, of course.
Yes.
we out.
Yeah, and then they like closed the borders and we couldn't go anywhere. So, but DC has definitely been a different experience with COVID from New York. I think we're kind of slowly starting to follow New York's path and with COVID, but right now the DMV area is like slightly shutting things down. They were shutting down indoor dining. At one point, it was completely shut down, but then they opened it up again. And it just sucks because DC and our rooftop parties in the summer is like where it's at, and it just really ruined everything.
Listen, there's nothing like a summer in DC.
Oh,
Um, Summer in DC is also dangerous for your pockets as well because you don't realize once them drinks start flowing, it's like it's midnight and you're like, oh, right, so I need to stop drinking now. I mean,
they
um, so New
they
York.
end in the summer.
Yes, next. So Maxine, what was it like for you? Because I mean, um, your most of your parents are here, your immediate family are here, both of your immediate families are here, right? And so, you know, I know for me, my biggest concern was making sure my mom lives in Philly, my dad lives with me, and so I'm making sure they're both okay. What was
Mhm.
the experience like for you both as far as life, right? Because I'm not sure. I mean, you slid into Disney thing under the radar, but I'm gonna let you go there, right? But how was that situation? Were you already working from home, or was that something where you guys were both going into the office and kind of like transition to, all right, everybody, you guys got to go home?
Yeah, I'll say for me, it was really interesting because I got hired at Disney a week before COVID hit and everything was shut down and quarantined.
Wow.
So I was in the office for about a week. So I was able to meet some of my coworkers. Some were already working from home because, there were inklings of COVID. So some people were like, you know what, I'm not even coming to the office. I'm just gonna stay home. So I met some of my coworkers, but I was in the office for a week and then I've been working from home ever since.
So
Oh,
did you even get a chance? Because some companies are slow onboarding. Did you even get a chance to fully onboard before they just toss you your laptop and they just say go home?
yeah, so they do onboarding like maybe 2 weeks before you're hired. So I was
Gotcha.
set with that. But there's some people now that they're hiring who are fully virtually onboarded, like they haven't met anybody. They were hired
Wow.
during COVID, and it's such an adjustment. It's really weird.
So how was that adjustment for you? Because the starting a new business, starting a new company, trying to understand the culture, and then being forced to understand it virtually. Like, I've talked to people who their bosses made them stay on the Teams video all day just to see that they're working, right? I'm hoping that's not the case at Disney, but what was that experience like from previous experiences? I know a lot of us probably experienced asking to work from home was like, nah, B, you don't get no work done. But now it's a whole different tune that everybody's singing from, right? So how was that experience for you, at least getting started, Maxine?
Yeah. So I will say, I mean, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I love working from home. And so the fact that I can work from home all the time now, it's awesome. But I will say it's a gift and a curse because now my home has become my office. And so you kind of don't have that escape. So it's like I'm in
Mm,
my apartment and I'm working. And then when you work from home, sometimes you work longer hours than you would if you were in the office because it's not like you can get up and go home. So it's kind of like that blending of having no real home. It just feels like the office kind of.
okay.
But yeah, it's an adjustment. But I'm still happy with it. And so to kind of switch it up, I left for Mexico for a couple months so I could work from home there and just have a different vibe.
But did you say a couple months?
Yeah. No big deal. Nothing crazy.
Excuse me. She only said a couple months.
I
Yeah,
know.
under the radar. But you know what? I appreciate your candor because that's a lot of what I like. I've been working from home for well over 5 years, and a lot of my travel is done with working during the day, having fun at night, and no one knows the difference because guess what? As long as I'm getting the work done, nobody cares. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of once you said the gift and the curse. And being able to go to Mexico for a couple of months, I wish I was able to do that. You know what I mean? Must be nice.
It was a blessing for sure. I'm ready to go back because this snow is not it. It is not it.
It's not even snowing outside. It
There's
stopped
no snow
snowing like
around
2 weeks
though.
ago.
I don't
All
know.
right. Okay, we're gonna go to the next story. So tell us, so tell us, so tell us how you got kind of like mixed into COVID, working from home, working at office. How was that working out for you?
For me, well, I was still going into the office. Nothing really changed for me because I was quote unquote essential. So construction is like we were able to slide through these essential cracks there. And even
Wow.
college and everything, I was never one to be able to like do homework or something in my dorm or in my apartment. So I always had to like go somewhere else. So I'm thankful that I was still able to, go into the office. We're a small company, so I have my own little office. I don't have to, deal with everybody. There's only like 5 people in the office anyway. And yeah, so nothing's really changed. I went with her
Okay.
to for about a week just to help her work it
Help her
out.
cope with being
Yeah,
away from home.
exactly.
Got
I
you.
make sure
Sipping
she
on margaritas and chilling on the beach. I appreciate all of that. I appreciate all of that. So, so, how are you guys adjusting now, right? sounds like 3 months vacation slash work in Mexico was part of your adjustment process. You did a week out there with her, right? Um, so how are you guys adjusting? So like New York, Cuomo is kind of putting the hammer down, right? It's like indoor dining is closed for the majority of the summer. Started to open it back up with the freezing weather, right? Um, and starting to close it down, and now what 10 o'clock curfews, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Maxine, how are you? How have you been able to kind of adjust through things to find what's considered a normal for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been hard, especially coming back from Mexico because I got back maybe like a week and a half ago. And so now coming back and everything is shut down, can't leave the house really. It's like I'm just in the house, just sitting there, twiddling my thumbs. So it's definitely been an adjustment. And same with my family. So I came back from Mexico. None of my family is comfortable seeing me, even though I got a negative test. So they're kind of like walking on eggshells, like, if you come over, make sure you wear the mask, make sure you stay in your
Well, you
room.
were away for 3 months, so I mean, even your best friend here was like, "Girl, I don't know you anymore."
I know, but I'm just like, it's taken some getting used to. Because before I left, it was still kind of open. Like New York was
Hmm.
still kind of open. I was still going out, still grabbing drinks. I think indoor dining was still open.
Hmm.
So it wasn't as shut down as it is now. So it's just
And
crazy.
and so before we go to the next, as far as Mexico goes, how was that experience like? Because you see everybody going to Tulum, you see everybody going to Cabo, you see everybody doing these things. What was, and lack of a better term, what was the temperature like in Mexico that made you desire to stay there for so long?
Yeah, it's
And when I
interesting.
say temperature, like what was the atmosphere like with
Yeah.
COVID being something of the concern?
Yeah. So originally I wanted to go to Costa Rica, but they just had way too many restrictions for entering the country. So I was like, all right, everybody and their mama is going to Mexico. Might as well go. There's no restrictions. So I went there, but I didn't want to go to Tulum because, that's where everyone was. So I decided to go to Playa del Carmen.
Hmm.
And I was just so shocked with the amount of Black people who were there, Black expats, and, the amount of Black people that were there pre-COVID, that just decided to move and live there. So when I got there, it was just full embrace. It was love. I met like my tribe out there. There's a
Nice.
lot of Black people who are just very welcoming and creating events and community in Playa. So,
Nice.
anybody that's interested in going, reach out to me, Melanin on the Move. We have
I
connections
will be
back in
hitting
Playa.
you up right after this,
Yes.
just so you know. Um, okay, so Ciata, what about you?
Yeah, well, Playa was an entire vibe, complete vibe. We started in Mexico City, and that was amazing. We were like, "Oh, this is gonna be great!" And we went to Playa, and it was warmer. And I'm a summer baby, so I need to be by the water, by the beach, and it was just everything that we wanted. COVID out there, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Like
It
we
doesn't
wore masks.
exist.
I mean, like I mean, it wasn't real, but it was real, but it wasn't real. So we were thankful that you got a negative test. I got a negative test when I got back.
So
It,
how is life adjusting for you, Ciata? Like just because it sounded like you didn't really have to do too much adjusting,
yeah.
considering work life was kind of the same, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, there's still the whole family side of things and being able to go out. Like what I mean, you were able to go to Mexico, but like everything else, how are you adjusting now to how you move around, the people you move around with?
Yeah, I mean, well, my mom's a doctor, so when I come and visit my parents, she's still going into the hospital. So both of us are still working around the same kind of thing. My dad is working from home slash now, furloughed kind of thing, that going through that whole situation. So that's been a tough thing in the DC area, all around the US, all around the globe, I'm assuming too. But yeah, travel is, it's unfortunate because we usually would have about 5 or 6 trips in by the end of the year, and we really couldn't do anything. DC is desolate at this point. It's crazy.
It's quite enough that I can get into all the decent restaurants without crazy lines. So I appreciate that. You know what I mean? As an outsider, I will slide under the radar, get me a table, and then leave.
But start doing, there's these really cute igloos on U Street, and they're kind of like popping up all over the place, Georgetown, at the wharf and everything, where they're little private indoor outdoor dining situations. One of my friends was like, that's a COVID bubble, but
yeah, it's as cold in the bubble as it is outside the bubble. So I wouldn't recommend it, y'all. But if you want that photo op, it's definitely a photo op.
Cute.
I'm good.
Hot chocolate, spiked hot chocolate, you'll be all right.
There you go. There you go. So we just talked about the new normal, right? Would your travel tips now change for anybody looking to get out and about traveling in the time of COVID? So like for a person that's looking to get started, what are some of your travel tips that you guys would give?
I guess we shouldn't encourage travel during COVID.
I'm saying so let me take you a couple back, right? When things open back up. When things are, well, I mean, I'm traveling during COVID. I'm going to Aruba this week, right? So things are open, right? There are more countries than we actually expected to be open at this time of the year that are open. So, what are your, tips? Like, so for example, when you guys are getting ready for a trip, what all goes into setting up a trip together?
Finding a flight. So just, Google flights, make sure you have your what's it called? Your little flight mileage in there. I would suggest being TSA pre, because I like just being able to go through those lines, not having to deal with anything. When you get to, back in the US and the border, you don't have to wait in that long line. Like, I think it was well worth the $200, whatever it was.
You're talking about global entry.
Global entry and TSA free. Do them both together.
That's an important one, because I still don't have that, and I'm in those lines, and it's not fun.
You can do the global passport. I mean, the mobile passport, and it gets you on that same line. So that's the kind of cheat code that some people need to understand. So just get the mobile passport on your phone, and you just run through the stuff, and they'll scan your stuff once you get to the thing, and boom, you get faster than if you just stand on the regular line.
Yeah.
So
I would also suggest getting, your telephone plan being global, so that you're not waiting there trying to find Wi-Fi here and there, or, just approving those day passes for your cellular plan. Because when you get to the airport now, they're requiring you to do the scan and go through the whole COVID situation. Everywhere you go, you have to do that. So just it'd be easier if you had a global cellular plan, so you don't have to try and find the Wi-Fi at the airport and all that stuff.
Nice. And so is that for both of you all, or Maxine, do you have your own?
Those are some really good ones. I would just say just really researching the area you're going to go to. I know for me, I spend weeks, looking at Airbnbs and whatnot before I actually book. So just really researching the area, surrounding areas, the reviews on Airbnb or whatever site you're looking at, and just getting a holistic view of the area you're going, and make sure that's where you want to be.
Okay. So now so here's a follow-up to both of your tips, and I really do appreciate that. When it comes to friends traveling together, so the good, the bad, the ugly, what are some tips that let's do this. Both of you give, right? Your key indicators that someone may not vibe for the trip. Right? May not vibe for the trip. So the goal is how do you guys identify when a person definitely won't vibe for the trip? Because you guys have been able to make your duos work, make your friend circles work. What are some like things that you guys look for that are definite indicators that people may not fit for what you guys are trying to go for?
Yeah. I would say I'm definitely looking for someone who's adaptable. So a lot of times, on vacation or on a trip, you might have a plan to do something and then the unexpected happens and that plan is derailed and you might just have to pivot and do something else. And so someone who wouldn't be upset about that or doesn't, ruin their whole day, but they're able to say, you know what, we can do this instead and it'll be just as much fun. So definitely someone who can adapt to change for sure and isn't like a Debbie Downer about that.
That's very important.
Yeah, definitely a must. And I would say someone that's ready to have a day on the beach, because both of us need that one day to just be laid out on the beach and just soak up the sun and recompress.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you guys a quick question. Do you guys, when you travel, do you guys do your separate times as you guys go on your trips? Do you guys do separate, like let's say you guys do a couple days together, do you find time to take time for yourselves?
Not when we're together, just because it's usually, like I said, we don't live in the same city. So when we travel together, we want to see each other. This last trip that we went on together, Mexico, obviously I just went for a week and she had her 2 months. So I guess you had your time alone next.
I know, but if you could have stayed, you would have.
I would have stayed.
But I will say we have something special here. It's not every day you can find a friend that you could travel with or not get tired of after like a week or 2 weeks, So it's definitely a blessing that we just like connected and we really just vibe. Like I don't even think we've been in a fight. Like we really just get each other.
Definitely. That's amazing.
Yeah. We didn't even live together in college. Like I don't even know. Like it just works.
Amazing. So, what do you guys have coming up or going on that you guys might want people to follow? You guys clearly have a lot of tips that you guys post on your page, right? So, where can people find this information?
Well, our Instagram handle is @_melanin on the move. And we did that because we're 2 Black girls, melanated, and on the move because obviously we're going around the globe, but also just in our daily lives as well. In DC and New York, when we're in the States, we like to stay on the move. But I think Maxine's birthday is coming up. So we're probably pop back down to Mexico.
Yeah, I think I might head to Mexico for my birthday because nothing's happening in New York, so I might as well just head back out
to Mexico. Yeah. Hey, you might see me in Mexico. Well, I definitely appreciate you both for doing this. With very little notice, and this is amazing what you guys are doing. You guys are showing that Black women rock around the world, that it is possible to move around and move around safe. So I really appreciate that. And once again, showing that it is possible for 2 Black women to get along for so long and travel and make it a vibe. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yes, thank you so much, Paige. This is great.
No problem.